Hi guys, it's Anya from Interior Design Hub back again today with another video, and today we are going over lighting. I'm going to talk about how to light your space and how to make it super easy. All right, let's dive in. So the first thing I want to touch on is that lighting doesn't need to be complicated. Lighting is so valuable to making your space look amazing, and it's very, very important, but it doesn't have to be complicated. What I love about lighting is that lighting can really dictate the way a space feels. And just by changing your lighting, you can go from a warm atmosphere to a cool atmosphere. You can go from cozy to moody to bright and airy. And a lot of that is just done with the manipulation of your lighting. So how do we do that? The first trick for lighting is to have more than one light source in any space. So when you're thinking of your room like a living room, you may have your main overhead lights. Now these lights are your workhorses. They are so you can see everything. But you don't want to just have that one overhead light. You want to add in now your side and accent lighting. And how do you do that? You do that through floor lamps and table lamps. And having those extra pieces of lighting, just like you see behind me, really do help change the feeling of the room. When you don't have those other levels of lighting, the room, although bright and you can see everything, feels flat. So you have to think about lighting just like you think about layering. And we talk about it, or we hear about it with textiles a lot, and layering and having, different pillows or throw blankets. And layering is a really common discussed about decorating theme. But lighting is the exact same in the way you want to approach it. You want to layer your lighting in any space that you have. So having multiple lighting methods is really what's going to give you that really planned and well-designed space. One of the areas that you really want to focus on having different lighting levels is your kitchen. One of the good ways when it comes to lighting your kitchen is to think about that layering again, but this is more of having that focused task lighting as well as having accent lighting and ambient lighting. So you want to use all three of your lighting methods in here, but it's a little different in a kitchen than maybe in a lot of other spaces, because in a kitchen, you may be standing and prepping food and you want to have really good visual light. So the way we achieve that is we have our main overhead lights. I feel like that's all, you always have your main lights, so your pot lights or your big light. And then you want to look at having some under cabinet lighting. And that lighting is really your task lighting. That's going to be able to help you see what you're doing when you're cooking and you're prepping and you're reading the things. And as you get older, trust me, you need more light. I don't know about you, but I can't see stuff as well as I used to. So definitely good lighting underneath your cabinets where your countertops are is really, really important if you can add that in. And the nice thing is, even if your cabinets aren't built in with lighting, you can add surface mount lighting to underneath your cabinets to really help brighten up that space. So what's nice is if you have an island, then you add in that beautiful ambient lighting. I find it can be like a task light if it's bright enough, but usually those are more just for looks, and it adds that extra layer in, and it adds that beautiful contrast to your space and really helps define your space. And that's, the power of lighting, because if you didn't have that, or if you don't have that, and then you add it in, you can see the real difference like before and after when you add in all of your lighting levels within your kitchen. I feel like when you talk about lighting, we always think about lighting in the, faux lighting standpoint. But lighting coming from natural light sources is also really important to consider within your space. So you really want to know where your natural light is coming from and how do you maximize that within your space. So by knowing where your natural light is coming from, it really also helps brighten up your space. And it's, it's free, right? It's coming from the sun, and it just makes your space feel larger and more open and more airy. So you really want to make sure that you're also thinking about your natural light and how to utilize it within your space. Moving into your bathroom, this is another area where lighting is so important. And I think, you know, as a woman, we all know we, you know, maybe put our makeup on and all that kind of stuff, but lighting levels in a bathroom can have such an impact on the feeling of a washroom. We have our overhead lights, absolutely, but isn't it beautiful when you bring in those sconces or those extra lights over the vanity area? And sometimes they could be dimmable. And then even bringing in, you know, some, you know, candles, maybe the faux ones, you know, those ones that you just like turn on, to add some of that ambient lighting. And what I love about adding all those levels into your washroom is that it becomes everything from a super functional, you know, get ready space with all the bright lights that you need to a restful and relaxing and calming space. And I feel like in the washroom, you really see how much you can create that juxtaposition just with the lighting that you have set up in the space, so that for whatever mood you need to create in that space is able to be done a lot with your lighting. One of the tips for any room in your house, any space at all, is to try and avoid having dark corners. So that's where you want to bring in freestanding lighting. So thinking about having floor lamps or table lamps or sconces to really help lighten up those dark corners will really help add in that layering that's needed, and also keep your space feeling open and bright and inviting. Because lighting, when you have dark spots, it actually kind of starts closing in the space. So most people like their spaces to feel a little bit bigger, a little bit brighter, and lighting is how you really do achieve that. Another thing to consider, if you're able to, you know, make some adjustments to your lighting, is to look into dimmer switches. Now, I really love using dimmers in spaces like that have pot lights. So in our basement, for example, I put in pot lights on dimmers, and what I love about it is if we're just kind of lounging in the evening, you can set the mood and have it a lot more calm and a lot, you know, more of just a low level lighting. But if we're down there and my kid's playing and he's got everything out and I need to see where all those little pieces of Lego went because I need to save my feet from them, that's when you want that brighter light, you know, and then still bringing in the layering, bringing in floor lamps and table lamps and additional forms of lighting within the space. But if you're able to bring in dimmers, it's great because you can take your main overhead lighting and still adjust that lighting style or that lighting level. A big one, bulbs matter. When you have a space and you have different lights and you have table lights and floor lights and they use bulbs, there is an abundance of bulbs that you can pick from. To start with, from like a sustainability standpoint, go towards the LED bulbs because they're just better for the environment and they last longer. What I love about lighting and LED lighting is that you can get every range from cool to warm. And there is a huge scale. I've talked about this on my very detailed lighting video. I'll link that up here for you guys. But basically, you can get any type of lighting, warm to cool, with a bulb. And you want to think about your wattage. So, you know, sometimes it says you can't use more than a 60-watt bulb. But if you put a, 15-watt bulb in a 60-watt bulb lighting, obviously you're not going to have as much light. It's not as bright. Follow what it says, because some things say it shouldn't be higher than a certain amount. Don't go higher than that. You'll have problems. So don't do that. But you can really manipulate your lighting levels through the wattage and the color with the bulbs that you purchase. I also recently saw, and I haven't actually tried it yet, but I thought it was kind of neat. There's like this Philips bulb that I believe is hooked up to your phone, and you have like an app and you can change the lighting from like cool. Catherine Manning had it on her show, and she changed her lights for her filming room so she can change the temperature of the light, which is really, really neat because a big part of lighting is that temperature, and it really does go from like a blue cool to like a yellow warm, and that can totally change the feeling of a space. So I thought that was really interesting that there's this bulb now that you can actually adjust that level right from your phone. If I can find it, I'll link it below for you because I thought it was really, really like a great idea. And what was also interesting is I believe it even has like different options for colors and different things. So if you want like that fun, maybe games room, and you're having friends over when you're allowed, and you can do all that fun stuff. You can have like maybe a pink light or a blue light or like some fun things, and that's where you can get really playful with lighting. And lighting doesn't just have to be generic lighting. It can be fun, and it can be playful, and it can be anything you want it to be, and create a really cool ambiance to a space just by changing the lighting and nothing else. So the key takeaway that I want you guys to get from this is that lighting is so important to a space because it really does help with the feeling of a space. And I think when it comes to good design, a lot of it has to do with how the space makes you feel. And you can have all of the right, furniture and finishes and textiles and everything, but if your lighting is flat or your lighting is wrong, it can totally change what you were going for. And if you wanted warm and cozy and your lighting is cold and blue, it's not going to feel warm and cozy, like no matter what you do. You gotta make sure that your lighting is complementing your design aesthetics. And I hope that these tips today help you understand lighting better and really help you level up your interior space. All right, guys, if you're enjoying this content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I really do appreciate it. Also, if you don't mind, hit that thumbs up button. It helps the algorithm, so I really appreciate it and shows me that I'm on the right track. As well as if you have any comments or questions about any of this content or content you want to see, comment below. I get a lot of my video ideas from that, so thank you very much. And until next time, bye.